to Around Comics. 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 Comics.
You are listening to Around Comics episode 411. 411. I'm Brian Salazar. With me is Christopher Niesman. Soon, at some point in time in the near future, hopefully Tom Caters will join us. Welcome, everyone, to another exciting, amazing adventure of the Around Comics podcast, where we talk about comics. What's up?
Too many comics.
Too many comics. Yes, we missed a week. We did, trade talks last week, so we had 2 weeks worth of comics to try and jam. We got to jam them in here.
It's are we just gonna go like old school, just like rapid fire?
Rapid fire.
There's
Tom Caters.
5 ACs.
Five.
There he is.
5. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, man. What's up, Tom Caters?
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, man? We were just talking about how there's too many comics this week. We got too many comics to talk about, damn it. And not
Rapid
enough
fire.
time. Chris is going to cut us off at 1 hour and 3 seconds.
Rapid fire.
We got to blast through these comics. Woo!
We have 7 minutes and 45 seconds. Go.
Okay, Punisher #1, Jason Aaron, and Paul Azaceta and Jesus Saez, the reinvention of the Punisher. I read it. I don't understand he's brutal. He's a mass murderer. He's killing in every panel almost. I mean, the whole thing is just this sort of worship to the rampage and the absolute brutal marauding death that is Frank Castle. And then at the end we get this sort of twist surprise thing, which on one hand it's sort of like whatever, and then the other hand it's like, well, it is comics, why not? Like, you know what I mean? If you can't do that,
sure.
And so but I am
the dude has been a Frankenstein. Why can't he lead the hand?
No, there's nothing with that. I have no problem with that whatsoever, leading the hand. If this was in response to people not liking the fact that there have been like some police officers and different people that sort of sport the Punisher logo, and what it represents, if this is sort of the response to that, I'm sort of like, I don't understand it. I don't quite understand why. For one, I mean, we talked about this in the past. Like, I don't think it matters. Like, people aren't gonna give a shit what happens in the comic book. Like, there's still gonna be assholes running around with Punisher shit on, and it's not gonna matter.
Yeah,
that genie's out of the bottle, my friends. You're not.
I also read this.
What did you think, sir?
I was like, okay. Like, it's a lot of like, it maybe did think of when they did make Frankencastle. So I enjoyed Frankencastle a little bit more than I enjoyed this, where I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, if I think there's another comic we might talk about that has a little bit of this too, where it's like, okay, well,
Sabertooth.
Sabertooth is actually really good. And
I didn't read it.
I'm talking about Strange.
Oh,
where a little bit of like, well, what are we doing here?
What's
like
the point?
That's the point. Like it's obviously comics, right? So Frank Castle isn't going to lead the hand forever. Like, nothing's forever, right? What? But there's like a certain element that's built into, I don't know, where I'm just like, I don't know, like, doesn't doesn't feel consequential, or like I really need to stick around to see what's going on a little bit. I don't know. Like it's just
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I'm going to spoil the book for anyone that has not read it. If you do not want to have the ending of the first issue spoiled, just put your hands over your ears, whatever, turn away for a minute. Just give me like 30 seconds here. Not even 10 seconds. I'm going to spoil the book. So in 3, 2, 1. Okay. So at the end of the book, they bring back his wife. And it's sort of this idea of like, okay, we've taken away Frank's reason to be the Punisher. His wife is back, because that was why he became the Punisher, right? His wife and child were murdered by these gangsters.
Fuck the kids, by the way.
Well, they might come back. Who knows? I mean, maybe we didn't see. I mean, it kind of ended that way. But okay, so if that's true, then why is he still like this rampaging monster of a human being that's just killing everything and enjoying it? I mean, not only is he killing everything, he's seemingly taking joy in doing it. Like he relishes his murder more so now than I think previously. I just don't get any of it. Like, I don't understand what the point of any of this is.
Well, Tom Brevoort said it was going to be the Punisher version of Born Again. So buckle in, pal, because this is going to be one of the greatest all-time stories ever.
Okay.
I don't know.
Nothing will ever be the same.
Yeah,
it's kind of that's a tough one to throw on the creators.
Right.
Yeah. Like, okay. I mean,
this could be as big as Watchmen. I don't know, but it might be.
I mean, nothing against Jason Aaron, but I think he is a solid, good comic book writer. I don't know if he is the guy that's going to bring us the next Born Again. I'm not sure he's that guy. Maybe. I'm not saying he couldn't do it.
I'd be surprised.
He's some of my favorite.
I'm surprised that anyone would see like the pitch for this book and be like, "Oh yeah, this is like Born Again." It doesn't feel like this is like the sort of a definitive examination of.
Maybe he meant the ending. It was like a literal translation of being born again.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Yeah, it's just such a strange comparison, because it is sort of like it's like, oh, what if the Punisher was in charge of the hand? Like it's that type of story.
We've seen this with Elektra, like she was in charge of the hand. Daredevil's been in charge of the hand.
Everyone gets to be in charge of the hand.
Yeah, it's a rotating cast of man.
I read Devil's Reign, Elektra, or was it the Woman Without Fear? Daredevil, Woman Without Fear #3, which is apparently a Devil's Reign tie-in, and that has Frank Castle on the last page as the Punisher with his new outfit, uniform, whatever, and which was supposed to be a big deal. So
I mean, I guess if you're trying to change the logo so like fascists aren't into it, I don't know if making it more like a samurai logo is really going to do the trick for you. I think there's going to be a bunch of dudes who are like, "Oh, sick."
No, the only thing fucking worse would have been if they turned him into a Viking, and if it had a beard, then fucking over.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if this is doing what you think it's doing. I don't know if you've
Okay, and the other hand is like, in this current age of sort of representation, having Frank be in charge of the hand, isn't there any sort of like cultural appropriation issues there? He's wearing a Japanese sort of samurai.
There's a little bit of a Last Samurai vibe with Tom Cruise. It's like wait, are we sure we're doing this? Like, is this the thing we're doing?
That being said, I did like the book. I mean, I didn't not enjoy it. I kind of liked the story.
It was fine.
It was fine. The art was good, and Punisher kills a lot of fucking people, and if that's what you're into, I don't know that was. I think I almost get the feeling like Marvel doesn't quite understand why the Punisher is popular. I don't know if they kind of get why people like the Punisher, and I don't know.
I don't think they're ready to really admit it.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's funny. This is a sidetrack, which I always do, but I happen to read an article by Bob Odenkirk that for whatever reason he was talking about Chris Farley, and he was talking about how
I read that same article. Yeah,
the skit where Farley basically, you know, kind of became a household name was the Chippendale Dancer with him and Patrick Swayze. And he said that, you know, it made him feel sad because he knew how much Farley was sort of insecure about his weight, and that even though he, you know, sort of played on that, it was something that kind of made Bob Odenkirk sad because now people were just sort of laughing at the fat guy. And I read that and I'm like, I remember watching that when it aired. I remember talking about that for like weeks with my friends about that. And even years and years later, it's, you know, I think it's one of the best, you know, funniest sketches on Saturday Night Live ever. It's like an iconic sketch. And it's like, I wasn't laughing at Chris Farley because he was fat. I was laughing because the situation was ridiculous. You had this beautiful, gorgeous dancer-looking Chippendale guy in Patrick Swayze, and then you had a guy that obviously did not fit that mold, but arguably was more endearing because he was so earnest in his attempt to be a Chippendale dancer. That was what was funny, and arguably he was the better dancer. It wasn't about watching a fat guy try and compete with Chris or with Patrick Swayze. I don't think that's why that skit made Chris Farley such a lovable character. And I think this is sort of the same thing. It's like, I don't think Bob Odenkirk knows why people were laughing or why people love that skit. You know, he thinks it was because people were laughing.
Or conversely, he like, I think sometimes if you know somebody and like, you might have too much context of what they of who they are, and you're like, I don't know if this is a good thing for this person that this is happening. You know, like
this is what they're
dealing with these sort of like that. This is, you know, because I think sometimes you can have. Maybe this applies to Marvel too. Is like maybe you have a little too much context of the thing you're talking about, and because you know too much.
Right. You knew ultimately it was not going to be a good thing.
It wasn't a good thing for him, or you kind of knew he was an insecure person and you're looking at it and you're like, I wish this wasn't the thing that he was doing because I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Marvel doesn't know why people like the Punisher.
Yeah.
Or they do, and they are just like, let's make him a samurai and have him kill people like a ninja now. Instead of like a fucking, you know,
because that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay as long as it's okay that he's killing people, just not with a skull on his chest. It's fine if he murders dozens and dozens and hundreds of people with a sword.
Strange. It's very odd.
It doesn't matter how you die, whether it's a gun or a sword, you're still dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't see why that's a distinction now. It's like, oh, we're gonna take away his guns. Okay, he's still murdering people, right?
He's like fucking decapitating people with a ninja sword.
Just weird. It was just a very. I was not what I was expecting. I just kept going.
You're trying to ditch a certain audience. You have gone the wrong way. You've gone directly into this. Right. This is like, it's like this is awesome. This is so much better than guns.
Oh yeah, I could get a sword. I could get a sword off the internet. I don't even need a license for a ninja sword.
Bunch of cops with
and then
ninja
you can have
swords
old school Punisher tattoo here, new school, Asian inspired tattoo here.
It's like you don't get what the problem is. You've got. I tell you what'll drive these guys off. Let's make it a sick ass ninja with swords.
If you give them nunchucks, too much. Nunchucks done.
We're essentially gonna, leave his costume basically the same, black and white motif. We'll change the skull a little. It'll look more. Hey, I know. We'll make it look like a demon ninja symbol. Nobody will like that. And instead of guns, which he
people really have some sort of weird power fantasy about using violence against people. They'll hate this now. Yeah, no way will any of those guys like this new version. I kind of need
Sal to do this.
First of all, none of those guys are fucking reading the Punisher comic. So
well,
that's
right.
the other thing. Yeah, but even if somehow it filters down, it'll be like, oh yeah, this sounds cool as hell, man.
Right?
This is He's
Well, as soon as-
decapitating like child molesters with a ninja. So, you know, it's like, what the fuck?
As soon as Tucker Carlson does a spot on, they took away the Punisher's guns. Then you know, there you go. It's going to be all over trucks.
Oh
and
yeah, there you go. Yeah,
black jackets.
But they gave him swords.
They gave him swords. Yeah.
He's still killing tons of people.
Lots of people. Lots.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it was brutal.
Yeah.
Oh well. So there you go.
Isn't
There's
it-
my.
yeah.
There's Punisher.
Punisher #1. Ding.
Done. Move on.
I read a #1, and it's
What?
from a book that that Sal originally turned us on to. Did you guys check out The Kill Lock, the Artisan Wraith #1?
Yeah, no. Of
Haven't
all the
gotten to it
books you
yet.
said you read, you didn't say that one.
I read it late. I read it right before we came out. We can talk about
no.
it next week. It's good.
Yeah, let's talk about it next week. We'll all
We'll talk
read
about
it.
next week. It's more of
You need a
a
good time,
Kill
man.
Lock. It's your fault, Sal.
Hey, that was a good book.
Bing.
Yeah,
Next.
Yeah, this is really good.
Move on.
Let's see how many comics we can talk about.
Do we want to talk about Killing Time?
We can. More killing.
It's a perfectly okay movie tie-in comic that's like timed to come out at the same time as the movie. It was all right. It was good.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
I shouldn't say tie-in. I should say like,
aside. It was adjacent. It was movie adjacent.
yeah, it's like, hey, it's got the Riddler in it.
Yeah.
Like that movie, you know, but obviously not the same Riddler. But
It was intricately crafted.
Mhm.
It's a Tom King book.
maybe too intricate.
Maybe.
But I'm like, dude,
Like a
oh my
Tom King
god,
book.
another time. Like, fuck, dude, I get it.
My brain doesn't work that well.
All
Tom.
these
Can-
times, you're confusing me with all the times. I get what's happening.
What's
Like,
in
I
the
understand.
box?
Yeah, I started to want. Like, as I was reading it, I started to think, okay, do I need to decode? Do I need to write this down so I have a timeline of events? Does it matter? Is this
I
gonna?
think I get it. I think I understand what's happening.
I think I.
But-
Yeah. You're trying to tell a very small segment of time over whatever 40
very-
pages of comic.
yeah. I mean, it was good. It was, it was fun. The art was cool. You know, I feel like we're in we're in like the Killer Croc-assance right now. I feel like Killer Croc
Nice.
is all over the
Yeah,
place.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
like he's like in everything. Yeah.
TM that one, Tom. That's and you're right. He is. He's everywhere.
He's
Killer-
everywhere.
I'm gonna make a
Croc-
shirt.
Croc-assance.
Killer
The Killer Croc-assance.
Croc. My assance.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like he's I feel like every time I pick up a Batman book,
Killer Croc.
like Killer Croc's in there, and it's all kinds of different versions of Killer Croc too. Like I think maybe that's probably why he's fun, is like there's all the whole widespread of like he's a big fucking crocodile to like he's kind of like a creepy dude who's like a little bit like a lizard, and then there's like the funny one from Catwoman,
Yeah.
Cliff Chain, like
He's
there's a lot of leeway.
He's like a
with-
big fat monitor lizard.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but no, another. I think safe to say another Tom King book that is gonna be good. You're gonna enjoy it. Yeah.
Is this
two
a
of my favorite
12
books.
issue? Is this a
Oh,
12
let
issue
me see
series?
here.
I think my favorite Killer Croc is the Azzarello Batman. That
It's a good
that
Killer Croc.
yeah, one of 6. It's not 12 issues. It's only
Okay,
6
so it's
issues.
6. Okay.
Half the time. It's epic though. They said it was epic 6-issue tale of a young.
Epic.
Oh, it's a young Batman, evidently.
Just like the Batman.
The Batman. I've heard the Batman is very, very good. Everybody's saying it's phenomenal.
I'm hearing good stuff.
That's a good one. The 3 Killer Crocs coming this fall from Brian Horsham.
the fat croc, monster croc, and like weird dude croc.
Weird
Those are your
creep-
three. The
creep
criminal,
show.
the clown, the other
the,
one,
the other Croc.
the one, the clown, the joke, that one. Yeah,
God.
That one Joker.
3 jokers.
Penguin's getting his own TV show.
Yeah,
Yeah, with Colin Farrell.
Yeah. I guess Colin Farrell wanted wanted to play the Penguin really bad. I guess he
wants-
wanted a solid job. He wanted a solid
he wants-
You
paycheck.
get one of them
Two-
sweet
two-
jobs like that. Yeah.
He said it started at 4 hours a day in the chair, and they whittled it down to 2 hours. So he's got to spend 2 hours a day just getting the makeup on for that
Oh.
role.
Boo fucking who.
I don't think he was complaining.
It's yeah.
He was on Hot Ones. Another good interview.
Hot Ones.
What's next? Bing.
Bing, we're done with
Killing
Batman. Killing time. That's all it gets. Boom.
Tom,
Boom.
go.
What do you got, Tom?
I read Sabertooth #2, and it was it was good.
It was
Say-
you were going to say better.
It was better. Yeah.
Is
Well,
this-
no, I mean, just remember the first one was the one where I was like, I thought it was going to be this, and at the end I was like, oh, yeah.
This
it's
was
gonna
the
be
one
this.
Yeah,
where
it was
he was
bad.
going to be Satan, right? He's going to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they've like fly through that.
Oh, really?
quickly in the second
Oh,
one,
nice.
and it's like, oh wait, okay, like this is interesting. Like they kind of pull back on that kind of
Oh.
quickly in a sense, and
They
like
heard-
it is like they heard
us.
me, yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, don't do the Satan thing. I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it for you guys, but it is actually like it's the thing where I was like in the first half of the first one, I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting discussion about like the idea of what prison is and like what does it mean? And it is about that because they kind of get into that in the second one with the other characters that got dropped into the pit, and you kind of see that, some of them, yeah, like that's a bad guy, they deserve that. And then some of them you're kind of like, I don't like, are we sure we're doing this? And like the idea of like who among the X-Men is really gets to decide who's getting punished, and like what, like Charles Xavier's like wrong all the time about all kinds of things, and now suddenly he's the now suddenly he's not wrong, and like the it kind of pulled back from the stuff that I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, so I'm gonna keep going.
It is a weird thing if you think about it. Like I can't say that I've ever given much time to thinking about prison other than I don't want to be there. But
Yeah,
like no matter what crime you commit, everybody goes to the same shitty place. It's just a matter of how long you're in the
how long
shitty
you're
place.
there. Yeah,
Which is kind of an odd way to sort of punish, I guess. Like, if you think of it, it's like there's no level. Like you murdered
there's this
someone,
person-
so you get to be in a shitty place next to the guy that stole a car. You're in the shitty
Yeah.
place. You just don't get to be there as long. Like you get
Yeah,
out
yeah.
after a while, but you both go to the same shitty place. That's
Well,
that's
funny
a
enough,
lot.
like part of it is like this person got sent here because they killed a bunch of people, and this person got sent here because they committed the crime of like damaging part of Krakoa. Like of like it could be some unreliable narration, but also the idea of like all these people have just been summarily sent, and they don't know how long they're going to be there. They're like told it's like a timeout, so like they're being treated like children, and like this the idea of like the frustration of like, hey, we've built this like nirvana, this perfect place for mutants, and we still can't get everyone to like follow our 3 like simplest rules about like doing it. And like, so it is good. I'll say that it turned itself around quickly.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna have to go back and
Yeah.
read that then.
I'll have to,
Yeah.
I'll have to add it to the stack. You guys read? I know I'm going off script. We sent him. I read.
Ding.
something.
Next one.
Did you read She-Hulk 2?
No.
No.
All right. Next. Thing 5.
Ding.
No.
I haven't gotten to it yet. Is
Ah,
it still weird?
okay,
Is
go
it still a
south.
weird comic? Is it still a weird
I'll-
comic?
It's a totally weird comic, but we finally find out why.
Oh, okay, cool. Ding.
Oh.
Ding.
I'm intrigued.
Uh,
Yes, it's awesome.
Radio Spaceman, Mission to Numa
Yo.
4.
Yes.
I loved this book. I love that I have no idea what it's about. It just gets dropped into it. I love the idea that there's some old dude in a mansion somewhere and he gets a phone call, and next thing I know, he's plugged into a remote spaceship and he has to go try and like go on this mission as some sort of remote control robot with the skull face, and his fucking workers forget to load batteries for his gun, so he has to beat people up with a fucking, or beat aliens up with a hammer. I love everything about this book.
And then there's a space vampire.
And then there's a space vampire,
Nice.
and there's also I loved everything about this book. I love the art. I love the story. This was just like a fun. This took me back to like what was
Amazing
the Tony
Screw on Head.
Well, Amazing Screw on Head. Yeah, that's a good point. But I was thinking about what was the Tony Moore, Rick Remender, Fear Agent?
Fear Agent.
This took me back to Fear Agent, where there was no rhyme or reason for anything. It was just good old fashioned comic book fun, silliness. Anything can happen. The dude's beating space bears up with a hammer. I don't know. I still don't know what this book is about, but I fucking
there's a
loved
little
it.
like Umbrella Academy craziness going on. Like, the character design is awesome. Yeah.
This is everything I could want in a comic book, honestly. I mean, this is like a palate cleanser. It's like, oh, okay, I don't have to think too hard. It's just fun. It just looks great. Greg Hinkle was the artist. It was written by Mike Mignola, colors by Dave Stewart, of course. Letters by Clem Robbins. And it was just like this was just fun. Don't you don't have to think a bunch. You just
do not overthink it.
No, just read it and enjoy it. There's like dudes that, like, the guy has like weird servant dudes with flat heads and light bulbs on their brain, on the top of their heads, and there's just every panel's got some weird visual thing to look at, and it's sort of a retro style, but sci-fi, and it was cool. It's only 2 issues is the only thing I'm upset about.
God bless them for that. It's like, hey, I got a great idea. I think it's about 2 issues. Let's roll. It's
right. When was the last time you saw a 2-issue anything?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. It was awesome. Do we want to talk about Strange number 1? I feel like it was not overwhelmingly received.
I look at this book and I just go, it's not for me. This is not a book for me.
Okay, that's fair.
It's written for a different audience, a younger audience. I think it's written for, maybe girls that want to read about a Doctor Strange character that's their own, and that's cool. I don't have it. Yeah, for me, it's hard for me to review it. Like, if I'm going to be like objective about it and sort of try and say I didn't care for the dialogue. I thought it was hokey and jokey, and to me it was just sort of like, it didn't feel it felt out of place. It just was like weird, like, and it has that thing where it's like, oh, well, she's a girl and she's replacing Doctor Strange, so she has to be even more of a badass, and and just like, it's like, whatever. I don't really need that. So for me, I didn't really give a shit.
I kind of felt like it didn't stick to any one thing enough. Like, if it wanted to be sort of quirky and funny, and like it could lean really hard into that. Of like, for a second, I thought it was going to do an interesting thing where when they were talking about like, well, everyone comes back, when you're a superhero, and I thought it was going to be like, I'm not going to try and save him. I'm just going to like hang out because he'll come back eventually, because everyone does,
right.
And like kind of like, which would be kind of an interesting tilt on it, instead of like, this is about us bringing him back. It's like, I'll just hang out because everyone comes back. Yeah. So like, I'll just be
the world's first self-aware comic book.
Yeah, like, we'll wait for it. Yeah, but like, it didn't lean hard enough into that part of it to like have that in, like, the art kind of didn't match that humor as well, and like it kind of like danced around a bunch of different things, because sometimes it was like, I'm actually a more powerful sorcerer supreme, and like I come from conquerors and this, and then it would be like a kind of a funny interaction with Doctor Doom, who of course thinks that he should get to be the sorcerer supreme, like showing up being like, I'm here to collect my things.
Which you said, that wasn't weird.
That was actually my favorite part of the book.
Of course, I'm going to be the next.
Well, of course, I'm going to be. Which is a way. There's like a way to have like a book that does that type of stuff, and like I could see it working really well and like leaning into all of that and like, but then it would just like it switch really abruptly, like visually and like tone wise to like something else, and it was like, oh wait, what's going on? So it was sort of like there's little pieces of it that I really liked and like things it could have done, but it was sort of like just all over.
Yeah, it was a little disjointed for me. And it's like, oh, I could probably really like this character if it was just if it was just a new character, if it was just someone, you know, another Sorcerer Supreme, you know, why do we, you know, why does it have to be, oh, it's the ex-wife of Doctor Strange, and you know, and he's dead,
well, everybody knows who that is.
Yeah.
But it's also like a little bit too of like what I was saying was like, yes, the Doctor Strange that's going to be in the movie is going to come back. Like we all know that. So like if you're going to talk about it, like, which is why I was like, oh, they're going to do something interesting where they're just going to be self-aware of the fact that he's coming back. But then I was like, oh, okay, this is actually about her trying to bring him back. And I'm like, you know, it's like, why are we here? What's going on?
Yeah,
like,
what's the point of it? Like, once again,
I was like, okay, like I guess, you know, I guess that's what this is, you know. So yeah, it was sort of like, I don't know, it was sort of like you know, like a snake eating its own tail, you know, like I'm sort of the part I'm kind of least interested in is so built into the story of like, I'm like, I don't like, I know Doctor Strange is coming back. Like, yeah, I'm like, I'm not, it feels like such an accelerated thing where it's like Doctor Strange just died and now we have to like immediately have the story where we bring Doctor Strange back. It's like, can't you like at least pretend for a little bit that he's not coming back, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I could think just like off the top of my head, I could think like, what if she just, you know, hung out and really didn't want to be the Sorcerer Supreme, and it was just sort of a day in the life or a week or a month in the life of being the Sorcerer Supreme when you really don't want to. I mean, if you wanted to be quirky and sort of funny, of like people just keep knocking on the door and asking the Sorcerer Supreme to do shit, and she doesn't really want to, and then she has to get in all these, you know, adventures that she doesn't really want to be a part of, or she's not really that, and part, you know, part of it she could sort of come to sort of understand, you know, what a Sorcerer Supreme is and learn, you know, how hard it is and that kind of thing. And the other part of it is she can kind of give it a new spin of like, well, this is what Stephen Strange would do. Well, I'm not Stephen Strange, you know.
And Dr. Doom could pull like a Trump and say that her
it's
being
invalid,
is illegitimate.
Take it to court.
Steal the or just as like everyone knows
to magic court.
There's a tremendous amount of fraud involved in the selection of the Sorcerer Supreme. Everyone knows it. It's illegitimate. I'm the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, I just think
come to me if you need anything. Like I am obviously the true Sorcerer Supreme.
True Sorcerer Supreme. I'll meet you all at Becker Street, or what is it?
Yeah, Bleecker Street. She said some very nasty things. Very nasty things. A lot of people are saying that I should be the Sorcerer Supreme.
And Mordu's a really intelligent guy. He's really
savvy.
Savvy. Yeah.
Speaking of Doctor Strange, speaking of like Hoopla and that kind of stuff, which we are all Hoopla fans. I've been talking about the Wastelanders podcast. Well, I found out that on Hoopla there is a ton of Marvel graphic audio productions. Have you checked any of those out?
You mean the movies?
No, it's graphic audio, which are the radio productions of novels and stuff. They have like 30 different Marvel ones.
You mean audiobooks?
Audiobooks, yes.
Jesus Christ. Why are you fucking dancing around that word?
Well, no, but an audiobook is like one person reading a book. These are
like a radio player.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Okay.
I'm confused by the term graphic audio because
that's the name
graphics
of the that does them.
Oh,
that's
okay.
the dumbest
But it's like
Graphic
I'm like, what do you
audio.
mean? Like a motion
Yeah,
comic?
sorry,
with
I listened
voices?
to him so much. I assume that everyone knows what graphic audios are. But yeah, it's the radio dramatization.
Whoever came up with that term should be fucking shot. No, should be stabbed by the Punisher.
He would do it. But I'm listening to Doctor Strange: The Fate of Dreams right now.
The
It's a
Fate.
Devin Grayson Strange story. Yeah, they're okay. They're good. It's if you're looking for something after you're done with Around Comics to listen to in the car on your commute. It's they're fine.
Does the Doctor Strange in this graphic audio have like a strangely strained American accent?
I
No.
don't know.
No,
Like-
no. It is not.
Does he have
it is not a British actor trying to do a curiously Midwestern
it's
strained
like,
American accent.
I think they should all have mid-Atlantic, like Cary Grant. I don't know, darling. I'm the Sorcerer Supreme.
We were talking about Colin Farrell as Penguin, and that was one of the questions that he got asked on the Hot Ones episode is about dialects, because he's had to do a lot of different dialects, and he said the hardest one is standard American. He's like, what is standard American? And he said that every voice coach that he's worked with has said, no, pick a dialect, pick something that is appropriate for that region and that area, that there shouldn't be a standard American.
No.
Standard American.
Chicago accent.
Technically,
I think it's St. Louis. St. Louis has the most accent.
I have the most American accent. It's the best, the most American.
Most American.
I wish I could do a better Trump. I can't really do a Trump.
Oh, that was Trump?
I was trying to be, yeah.
That was terrible.
Thank you.
I'm not even gonna try it. Mine would be.
It was a graphic audio.
I'm the
version.
true Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah. So anyway, so if you're looking for, if your audio book well is running dry, there's a ton of Marvel
graphic audio productions.
Graphic audio productions on Hoopla.
They
do Civil War. They have Civil War.
If I was very bored and had nothing to do,
you had a longer commute. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I wasn't talking about that. I was gonna say there's a website where like people record audiobooks.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For like free. You just you can listen to, like, I guess it's okay if I record an audiobook and give it away. I guess that's fine.
So you could
as long as I don't sell it.
So you could do a reading of like The Stand and release it, and that's fine. But if you charge for it, then
yeah. So I thought that was interesting. I'm like, oh, that'd be kind of fun to do sometime, but never. I need a really short book.
Not
really. Definitely not The Stand. That would never get that done.
Not The Stand.
Never.
So they're
graphic audio production. This is a graphic audio production of Around Comics. I want to talk about a book you mentioned. I thought was interesting, that Hit Me book.
Wow, not what I was expecting.
From AWA.
Yeah.
Upshot. Hit Me from Krista Faust, Priscilla Petraeus, and Marco Lesko. I thought this was an interesting book. I am not
really. Yeah.
I guess I'll give it a little brief synopsis. It's about a woman who is a sex worker, and her specialty is sadomasochism, and she gets paid to get hit and beat up and that kind of thing, and she enjoys it. And then that, as the story goes on, it turns into something else, but that's kind of the main character. And I was interesting, sort of reading it from a perspective of someone that obviously I think the writer is familiar with this kind of thing to some degree or another. I don't know how much.
If you read, did you read the back matter?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she has a history of either working in the sex trade or being involved in the sex trade or having a lot of friends that are in sex trade. So, I mean, she's writing this from what sounds like a pretty educated perspective.
Yeah, and it was an interesting read for sure. I mean, it definitely kind of, is evocative, and for me it's an interesting thing because it's like, I for the majority of my life, my idea of, someone working in porn is, it's not a healthy place. I still think that it probably is not for the most part. I don't know though. I've never worked in the industry, obviously. And I don't really know anyone that ever has. So I don't, I can't really speak to it from an educated standpoint. It's more, sort of anecdotal, and just sort of there's enough horror stories of people that have worked in the industries, and I guess, it being illegal is one of the bigger issues of why a lot of that becomes a horror story, or why those horror stories exist. And it is an interesting thing. I mean, I know that over the last, I don't know what you'd say, 10 years, from my perspective, I would say 10 years or so, where the narrative is, that it's something that should be respected. It's something that people are, doing it from a healthy, place. And, as long as it's, consensual kind of thing, there's nothing, it shouldn't be, a stigma about it. Hard for me, to necessarily get around that, but it was an interesting read from that perspective, and just sort of seeing someone, seeing a character who kind of, as the story is going on, she's sort of explaining that
That sex work is work, and there are boundaries and there are rules, and it is a transactional relationship. And it makes you, if not rethink it makes you look at it a little bit harder, which I think is a good thing, instead of just ignoring it as like one of society's dirty little secrets, right?
Right. I think that, I mean, that's why people, I would guess that's a big part of why people do end up getting hurt, or end up getting, taken advantage of, or, because it is a stigma, because it is illegal, because of all those things. I don't know. I mean, it's so far and away from my life, in the sense, it's like, I can't even imagine being in that life. But at the same time, it's like, oh, this was an interesting perspective to read about it.
And she's not a call girl. I mean, she's not a hooker. She's in sex trade, but it's I mean, it's kink, right? It's BDSM, and it's
the only thing, I mean, the only thing I would,
Pretty Woman, right?
Yeah. The only thing I did think about, as reading, is like someone that's pretty familiar with violence, and getting hitting people, hurting people. It's like, that part of it, while I appreciate the fact that they want to portray it as something that can be, I guess, healthy, or can come from a, it doesn't necessarily come from a fucked up place, where, in my mind, it's like, well, you got to be kind of fucked up if that's what you're into. If, like, you want to get fucking punched in the head for money, I think maybe you're kind of fucked up. But I don't know. This is a perspective. It's like, no, she's not fucked up. She enjoys it. And, okay, I can accept that part of it. But to some degree, I'm just sitting there going, fuck, man, to sort of present that in a comic book, I feel is a little bit dangerous,
as being in any way a healthy thing.
Not psychologically. I don't, I can't speak to that. Like, if someone enjoys,
what I'm saying is to present that, in any context, as being a healthy behavior.
Well,
right.
From my perspective, simply in a medically unhealthy behavior. Like, I don't give a fuck how tough you might be. Getting punched in the face is not going to be good for you in long term. I don't care how much money you make. And she talks about it in the back of the book of like, well, boxers get, punched in the face for money, and nobody, everybody calls them a bad. Yeah, absolutely. And that's not a healthy necessarily thing either. I mean, they go into it with their eyes wide open, and you're doing that too. But I don't know that. The only thing that concerns me about this book is the audience that might be reading it and who it's geared towards. Thinking that, maybe I like a little pain. That's much different than getting punched in the fucking head. Like, getting hit in the head is a very serious and bad thing. So that's the only thing I was like, because she kind of, like, in the very beginning of the book was like, oh, she's got a black eye. It's like, yeah, you don't want to take too many shots to the face. Like, you just do not want. You're gonna be fucking drooling, and like I said, she kind of brings up how tough the character is and how high her level of pain is. And I'll just say this: a Mike Tyson quote is, "Tough guys have speech impediments." And that's Mike Tyson talking about, like, training. Like, tough guys end up with speech impediments.
Yeah.
So
that's the other thing. It's it's easy to be tough in your early 20s.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than
and I just say this in all seriousness. It's to all the thousands of young 20 listeners that we have out there.
All you kids out there,
if you felt like I did every morning when I get out of bed, you would go to the hospital. You would be like, what has happened to me? So enjoy your
curling like you're in your 20s.
Oh gosh, those springy fucking flexible
out on that ice assholes.
But it was really, I enjoyed the book. I mean, it was interesting for sure, and I enjoyed the sort of different perspective of it. But yeah, don't get hit.
Can we
in the
talk
face.
about how fucking pretty it was?
Sure.
My God, is it a good-looking book? It is this. Did you get like a Rizzo vibe out of some of the this?
I was feeling like Joel Jones a bit, to some degree. It felt like maybe Rizzo. There's a lot of different kind of
that short fat dude with the terrible mullet. And like the flashback to their one bad encounter. I mean, you look at those, and I mean,
nobody can see it, Chris.
That just
nobody can see any of that.
Screams
Rizzo to me
with your terrible internet connection.
With your dial-up.
Oh shit! Sorry. Hey, I'm sorry.
You've got mail. You've got mail.
Chris is the first person to use all his AOL hours.
I have the best internet available in the city of Milwaukee.
It's the best.
The best, that bad Wisconsin internet. They're probably throttling it because you can get news from outside Wisconsin through the internet. No, I want anyone to find out.
Yeah.
They've cut off.
It's hard living behind the cheddar curtain.
You need just enough bandwidth to search for images of Packers, and that's it. You don't need any more.
A good ice fishing map. Know where
that's all you need.
What do they fish for?
Smelt? I don't know.
Are they fishing for muskie?
PBRs. They're not really fishing. They're just getting away from their wives.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a cool book. I mean, I didn't even know about it, and you turned me on. And I was like, oh, this is interesting, and yeah, definitely a different perspective on how to go about making a few bucks.
Yeah, and beyond that, it turns into kind of a
crime. It's a crime book. Yeah, then it becomes
it's a crime book. Yeah. It's not really a heist. It's a, what would you call that kind of setup where basically the two unbeknownst people come into possession.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Wrong place, wrong time story. Yeah, it's it was good.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was very interesting. Yeah. I don't know. It's funny. I was having someone punch me today for free.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. You don't charge?
Well, it was a woman that I work with, and so I've been
Oh, the plot thickens.
yeah, I've been working out again, at work. There's a heavy bag, and I just do a routine on the heavy bag, hitting it, that kind of thing. And a couple of women that work in the office there, they would come up occasionally while I was doing it, and then one of them sort of was following along with, because I have an app on my phone and it just tells me like punch combinations, and it's just something to follow along with, And so she started doing it, and then I kind of was helping her a little bit, and then she's like, I just want to punch someone. I'm like, well, you can punch me. Like, you're not gonna, you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna, I can play defense. I have gloves on. So she started punching me, and just sort of the excitement of like, I don't think she's ever punched anyone before, So it's just like seeing her just sort of like really get into, into punching someone. It was kind
Do
of
I
neat.
know this person?
Oh yeah, it was Donna.
Do I know that? Oh, it was Donna. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was Donna. Yeah, if you knew,
that's awesome. Yeah, Donna's not gonna put you on the floor. You're gonna be all right.
No. I'll be fine.
Yeah,
but
but I can also see, she whenever she was hitting you, she was thinking of someone else.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
and that person would be your husband.
No, not her husband. Her husband passed away.
Recently. Sorry. Yeah.
No. But yeah. So yeah, but I can't imagine like paying to want to hit someone. Like that's the other, like that's the thing in this book. Yeah, like so okay, going back to it real quick, just to sort of think about this for a second. If getting paid money to get hit is coming from a healthy place, is paying money to hit someone is coming from a healthy place too? That doesn't seem like it would be.
So
like, you know what I mean? Like
this would be the counter argument, is that person is given an outlet to pay someone to do it, and that person is doing it consensually, and that is maybe saving someone who that person would lash out against in a criminal way, right? Would that be the counter argument?
But I guess, but that's like treating this, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why it's like a complicated thing to me. It's like, this doesn't seem like a healthy thing in any way. Like, I'm not trying to criticize it, anyone, but it's like, from my perspective, it's like, how can this possibly be a healthy thing on either side of it? Like, I understand. Yeah, maybe you enjoy getting hit, but is that simply like, I enjoy eating cheeseburgers, but if I do it all the time, I'm gonna fucking die of a heart attack. You know what I mean? Like, people enjoy doing heroin.
You can do it in your early 20s. This woman is not going to be doing it in her 50s.
Yeah, but you do it enough in your early 20s, and you'll be fucking eating everything out of a straw when you're in your 40s.
Well, that's true.
You know, that's my point, though. Is like, you can make the argument that it's like, this is a healthy thing that's not something that should be stigmatized. It shouldn't be looked down upon. But is it? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I understand the argument there of like, it's her decision to do that. But like I said, people enjoyed shooting heroin in their veins.
I don't know if it was presented in a super preachy way, that it's
no.
This is this isn't wrong, this is right, and that should be your opinion. I think this gave a very it did what good comics or good books or good essays or articles should do, and that is provide a window into a larger world that you're ignorant of. And I felt like I was given a little bit of a look into a world that I'm very ignorant of, and that was intriguing to me. And that's
absolutely. And that's
what I think made this a successful comic. Whatever your views on it are, I think it's a successful comic because you made us think about it, and here we are talking about it. And so, I'm not going to do that about Moon Knight #9 this month, right?
Well,
A lot of people are saying that violence is good.
It seems that way in
lot of
comics.
people-
Violence,
lot of
violence is okay. I don't.
lot of people
Yeah, like I said, it's definitely something that is an interesting subject. I thought it was very well handled in the book. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not like what even if my daughter enjoyed it, is it something I would want my daughter doing, like getting punched and beaten, like beat up for money? It's like, I don't know.
And isn't it awesome that it's a fucking comic book that is making you actually like think about this for probably the first time in your life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, not the first time.
Yeah,
come on.
You've thought about your daughter taking money to get beaten up before?
Well, not specifically that, but I've certainly thought about all the possibilities of what my daughter may or may not do the rest of her life. Sure.
Oh my God, that's why I'm not a parent. That would I'd never sleep. I would never sleep.
Yeah. No, that's exactly. look at me and Tom.
Yeah, so tired.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. I haven't slept in 19 years.
Yeah,
right.
You kidding me?
It's exhausting.
You want to talk about some good storytelling? Boy, that HBO series Winning Time.
No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about that on ACTV. No,
what is ACTV?
This is comics.
This is
comics.
No, what is ACTV? Sal, tell everyone what ACTV is.
ACTV is our chance to talk about things outside of comics. It's when Chris and I get on a podcast and talk about what we're watching, TV shows, movies, all that sort of stuff. Sometimes it's geek related, sometimes it's not. And it's available only exclusively on our Patreon channel, patreon.com/aroundcomics. For as little as $5 a month, you can not only support the show, help us out, help us pay for this fucking fiasco, but also you can get exclusive content available only to Patreon members. That's right, exclusive content just for you. You'll be so special. You'll be a special little tiny, just special little group like the Hand, and we'll be your Punisher, and we'll just guide you to murdering everyone. No, wait, no, we won't do that. But we will give you special content like ACTV, like K-Billy Super Sounds, like the Gutter Dump, where I talk about not all the news, but some of the comic book news that comes out every week. And Tom Versus, when he talks about old comic books and makes fun of them. And all that. And interviews whenever Chris gets off his lazy ass and does another interview with a comic book creator. But other than that, there's all sorts of
they'll
stuff.
Have subreddits now. They'll have subreddits. They don't want to. But no, we're totally going to talk about Winning Time. I'm so excited. So Sal just understood the power of the segue drop there at the end as we approach the end of this here show. We love to hear from you all. Send us emails, info@aroundcomics.com. Do all the social media stuff. You can find it. You probably already have if you're listening to this. Sal's Real Crimes podcast. What's the next one coming out?
I just released Summer of Sam about David Berkowitz, the Son of Sam killer, and the film Summer of Sam by Spike Lee. So that's the latest one that just came out this week.
Nice. Who's your special guest on that one?
That was my friend Brad is the guest host on that.
Brad Larson.
That's correct, Brad Larson. Yes,
nice.
He's kind of my 70s guy. He's because he actually lived through it. So,
Larson's a good guy. All right, so check out Sal's other show, Real Crimes, and check out the Patreon at patreon.com/aroundcomics.
This week, just
one up.
Wait, I'm sorry if I can. Just one real quick thing. I did just have a chat with Andy Parks about Capote in Kansas as a bonus episode to go along with the In Cold Blood, and he tells some great stories about writing Capote in Kansas and traveling to Holcomb, Kansas, where the family lived, and some other great stories. So that'll probably come out the next week.
Awesome, very cool. Go Andy. All right. Tom, what's going on in your life?
Not much, man.
Did your kid win
Event.
his basketball championship?
Yeah.
They won?
Yeah.
Hey, all right.
won.
Look at
Yeah.
that. Wonderful.
Yep.
It's all downhill
30
from here.
32-16.
Whoa, blowout.
Yeah.
Nice. Did you just tell them
That's awesome.
to step on the gas when they were up by like 15? Did you just like step on the gas? Just drive the nail. Put
Finish
the nail
them
in the
off.
coffin.
They scored that
Finish
last,
them.
and that's whenever they scored that last point. Yeah, win by 16.
Yeah. It was no, they took their foot off the gas.
Let them go.
once
Let
they
them
got up
cruise.
by- Yeah. Run out the
They
clock.
got up
Just,
big.
you don't need to, yeah. You don't need to. Don't want any
What
crying
age group
kids
is
at the
this?
end of this one. Third graders,
Oh wow.
So
8-year-olds.
And how did your son play? Did he live up to your expectations?
Yeah, he played well.
Nice.
He played
Very
well.
nice. Very good.
Tenacious defender. He
Very
did get
nice.
hurt. He got hurt. He got a kid. They ran a pick and roll, and he got the guy that set the pick kind of took him out
Oh, geez.
pretty hard. So he kind of sat the last 10 minutes of the game, but he was fine afterwards.
Nice.
He just had the wind knocked out of him. It was a big kid.
Yeah,
But,
the victory.
They
the
usually-
victory, the victory was enough to make him feel okay.
Yeah.
In that
Yeah.
age group, it's usually a big, pretty hefty kid that sets the pick. You know, they
Yeah.
don't. They usually
Yeah.
send the center. They usually send the
Yeah.
center up there,
This
power
guy
forward.
was a big kid.
Not their big scorer. Yeah.
Yeah. Go out there, set the pick.
All right.
The
Well,
top.
congratulations.
Yes, the Blazers champions.
Good stuff.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right. We're all wrapped?
Yeah,
Done?
sure.
Yeah.
This little, we're ready to put this little present together, put a bow on it, and send it out into the universe.
I think
Yeah.
so.
All right. Fantastic. Like Sal said, ACTV coming up at the end of this week. All sorts of other stuff on the Patreon page. We'll be back next Thursday for another live stream and podcast. In the meantime,
In between time.
we'll be everywhere in
And
Yeah.
around comics, where we
the
murder
internet
people
delay.
a lot. Murder a lot of people with swords. And
Yeah, still got to
trucks.
see the Batman. Maybe this weekend.